Okay, the recording is starting and says it's good. So let's see if I can just leave that on chat and maybe kind of hang it out on the left side. We'll see how that works for us today. Today, I want to talk about the engineering updates. If you've opened your email this morning, you will have realized that we had an update that went out yesterday afternoon. And I've got a list. The Excel spreadsheet that was included in your email had a number of cell libraries that had changes to them, and these were all driven by the individual disciplines who wanted those changes. And then we had some changes to the interface. So that would be the ribbon workflows and the ribbon tabs. There were some changes for survey and also on, I think, all of the ribbon tabs where there was an attribute button that's been fully expanded to show all of the attributes, things like level, color, line style, weight. We did remove some cache files, and there was a brand new cache file that came out from GeoHydro Environmental, and those are all in place. And then we get to the changes that we made that I really wanted to focus on today, which is the changes to the configuration. It's our main configuration file and the preferences for OpenRoads Designer. I didn't need to change the preferences for MicroStation, but I did make a change to the ones for OpenRoads. So the ODOT standards change was made in order to give you control over a preference for how reference attachments are made. And I wanted to go into that in more detail and show you the effect of that. So I'm going to use a project that you might be familiar with. It's our key number 59s in the user training area in ProjectWise. In the number 2 plan sheets folder, I have a plan sheet that I used probably about a month ago, and I cut some sheets. I'm going to open that with MicroStation Connect. And in MicroStation Connect, we will see the models, once I turn on the model dialog, the models that were created when I cut those sheets. I used the place name boundary tool, and then I created drawings. And it was that creating the drawing process where MicroStation automatically makes reference attachments. And that's why this setting is so important for you to know about. And we will see that as soon as it's open. It's almost done loading everything. And what we are seeing is the white background, which indicates I'm in a sheet type model. The name of the model is C01. I named the model after the sheet number. This is C01 model. And I can see the edge of the sheet boundary. I've got that little drop shadow. And as I look around here, I might realize that there's a problem with the line styles, the custom line styles. I'm going to hover my mouse over a green line, and it reports that it's on a level that says fence. That sure does not look like a fence line. This is the problem with the reference attachment default settings and why we made the change this month. There's also some proposed curb, which is red, and it's on a proposed curb level. And that doesn't look correct either. They all look like solid lines. They are not solid lines. When we select these and look at the properties, let me hover over, right click, come on, right press, open up my properties. We should be able to see that the properties are P roadway road curb. Well, that one's curb, sorry. Let me hover over a different one. I've got a couple. Here's one. This is the one I wanted. When I select the one that looks like it's along the gutter line of the sidewalk, the line style on the right-hand side of the screen says curb const V8. That's the custom line style, and it sure does not look like that. It looks like a solid line style. What I would need to do to get these line styles to look correct is to adjust the reference attachment settings. I'm going to open up the reference dialog, and normally I like to pin this dialog. I like to dock it and pin it when I'm using it and unpin it when I'm not using it. So I'm going to pin it, and at the bottom of the dialog, I want to draw your attention to what we call the toggle buttons. And it's the toggle button that is the sixth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth from the left. And it looks like a squiggly line over the top of one big bump. That is the toggle to turn on or off scaling the line styles by the reference scale. There it is, scale line styles by reference scale. That means when it's on, like it is now, that those line styles are scaled up according to the drawing scale in their native file. They live in an existing base map, the fence does, the curb is in a design file. I checked both of those. Those are 1 inch equals 100. All we need to do to make those look correct is to make sure I've got the main reference attachment selected and toggle off that setting. And then I see my curb, which is a dashed line, and I see my fence, which has the X. So I can see that my custom line styles are now working correctly. So this was a model that I cut about a month ago when the settings were not good for creating drawings using sheet type models, because I'd have to go into each model that I created, the sheet type models. I'd have to go into each one of them. I've got a C2 sheet. I'd have to go into that one and notice that the line styles look terrible. They don't look right. And I would have to select it and toggle it off. Now, if I only have a few sheets, that's totally doable. And if that was all I had, that would be totally doable. But I want to be able to cut my sheets and not have to adjust each model after it's created. That's why we turned on the control of the settings. And I'm going to show you where those are right now as soon as I dock my models dialog and unpin it. Unpin that. The settings for each user are under the backstage. That's the File tab on the left-hand side. There's settings in the blue margin area on the left. And in the center column that says Settings at the top, make sure User is selected, and then choose a user setting. The one I want is Preferences. On the Preference dialog, you have, it looks about 15 categories. I'm interested in the reference category, and what we will notice today is this section about the default reference attachment preferences. There is a scale line styles. Yesterday it was grayed out. You could not control your own default attachment preferences for scaling the line styles. Today, it's not grayed out. If you're using MicroStation and not OpenRoads, if you're using MicroStation Connect, it should be activated, nice and bold, so you can control it, and also unchecked. This is the correct way for it to be configured if you are creating sheet type models during the creation or assembly of plan sheets. If you were going to use design type models like we've done in the past with MicroStation V8i, you would want to check that box, because the design type models have a drawing scale that's 1 inch equals 100 or 1 inch equals 10. It's an appropriate drawing scale for a design type model. But the sheet models use 1:1. So we want to leave that unchecked. So that's unchecked. Let me show how that affects your creation of your plan sheets now. I'm going to travel back in my model dialog to my named boundaries model. If you saw my previous demonstration last month where we cut these sheets. I use a named boundaries model, and this model has a drawing scale that's the same as what I want the plan sheets to ultimately print out at. And this was a small project, so this was inch 50. That was my drawing scale in my named boundaries model. What I can do right now is I can cut new sheets using this model. The named boundaries dialog is on the View ribbon tab from the Drawing ribbon workflow. Going to launch the named boundaries, and I will see the named boundaries that were already placed here. There were 2, and you can see that they've got their 50-foot, 25-foot, they've got overlap, whatever the appropriate overlap was. It's probably 25 feet. And there I have the 2 sheets. I can select the plan sheets, and I can use the Create Drawing button on the Name Boundaries dialog to create new sheets. I want to create new sheet models. You know what? I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to do them one at a time just by right-clicking on the sheet itself and using Create Drawing. It is not recognizing my drawing seed. I believe that I cut these so long ago that it's not recognizing my drawing seed. So how would I do that from the beginning? Sorry, I didn't test this before I showed you. I'm going to actually remove all of these. Oh, you know what? I don't have to remove them. I'm going to create brand new ones. I'm going to use the Place Name Boundary tool and create using the Detail Full Sheet Only. The reason I want to use Detail Full Sheet Only is because for today, I don't want to create drawing type models. And let's call this Plan 1. The detail scale is going to be inch 50. And I'm going to create a new group to put these in. I'm just going to call it new. And I'm going to place this, and I'm going to use, oh, now we see that I should have tested this out beforehand. See if I can snap to the center of that other boundary. No, it does not like that. I'm just going to, let's see. I'm going to rotate this. Okay, I'll just place it there, and I will rotate it. Anybody who's seeing me struggle could offer any advice. Pivot there. Let's just rotate it. And then I'll move it. Just going to position it near the previous one. Previously, the boundaries that I had placed, I can see that I had left room for the note margin. So this one is longer. I use the detail full instead of the detail notes. In the past, I've left room. So I'm going to just use this detail full, and I'll just do one sheet. If I open up my name boundaries to my new group, I should have Plan 1, and I should be able to create the drawing. It's going to create my sheet model, inch 50, which is perfect. When I click OK, it creates the sheet model and positions me in it, and I have done everything wrong here, so I'm not surprised that it came out not the way I wanted it to come out. Don't we always love the way these things work? And my scale line styles by reference scale is also checked on, and it should not be. So I'm going to, at very least, restart this thing, but this is not working very well. It certainly did not work the way I wanted it to. So let's see how far I can undo.
I wonder if you have to rotate your view horizontal so it's perfect. That's was
I'm sure that that would be better. You're right, Rhonda. Let's try that.
that was
Let's
my what was my hiccup when I was doing sheets after we talked last week.
yeah, and I can't remember. Well, that didn't work very well either. And I can't remember the rotate view by element. So if anybody remembers that, key in the rotate by element.
Can't you just do the 2-pointer and then kind of use your alignment as your
The 2-pointer
organizer?
was for, yeah, I probably could.
Yeah.
I always mess up this rotate view. It's because it's so close to vertical. Okay, so you are suggesting use my rotate view command. Don't use dynamic. Use 2 points. Thank you. I haven't had my my coffee today.
You can use the top boundary. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, just use that one. There we go. Oh my goodness, that's so much better. Okay, let's try this again. Let's place a boundary, detail sheet full, plan, that's fine, into a new group. And I'm just going to position it right there. And let's try, what bothered me though was also the reference attachments did not come through. Let me see something before I go into this. If I was to make a new reference attachment, let's see if it will not crash on me. Okay, I'm working in project-wise. Let's say I was doing a self-reference attachment, doesn't matter. Yeah, this is nice. That toggle is off. That's what I wanted to verify, that that toggle was off. So that's good. So I just wanted to verify that. So now I'm going to go into the named boundaries launcher and select my plan one, use my create drawing, click OK. And what I'm not liking though is that I'm not seeing my fence. So looks like I have some investigating to do now that I've got the reference attachment settings correct. I've got some investigating to do as to why my automatic process for creating those references did not pick up the default settings. So I will investigate that. It should. If yours is also not picking up the default attachment settings, they can be fixed individually after we place the reference by selecting the reference and toggling off the scale line styles. It's not something I'd want to do if I was using open roads to cut 100 sheets. I don't want to go into 100 sheets. So I will investigate that and figure out why that's not working the way I want it to. But this is how you would do it today. If it's not giving you the line styles that you want in your sheet, open your reference attachment settings and toggle off the scale line styles by reference scale. All right. I wanted to know if there are any other questions about that. I haven't got my things
I almost think
open.
if you reattached it, it probably would have picked up on it, but because I don't know, that was weird.
But it was weird when I attached it manually. A manual
Mm-hmm.
reference attachment is picking up those defaults, but the automatic reference attachment of MicroStation during the create drawing process,
Mm-hmm.
when we create those drawings, it automatically makes that reference attachment to the named boundaries. So, oh, there was one thing that I didn't double check. Thank you, Rhonda. You spiked a memory. Let's go back to the named boundaries model and let me look at the attachment settings here in the named boundaries model. because if my reference attachment settings, it's just using these ones. Okay, you are in my way, this model. Okay, the reference. Let me bring this reference dialog. I think I figured it out. I made this reference attachment to the in my CAD base a long time ago. And when I made that reference attachment, you can see that toggle is on, isn't it? That toggle is on. I needed to turn that toggle off before cutting my sheet. Let's cut one more. Now that I've turned that toggle off, let's cut one more and see. Come on. I just want to unpick. All right. Named boundaries. I'm going to select my plan and I'm going to right click and choose create drawing. I'm hoping it uses the current settings and I'm hoping that we see our fence line. Oh, still not. Okay. Well, problematic. I didn't save settings, so I will investigate further and let y'all know. Any other questions or any questions at all about this month's October updates that I can answer for you? I don't have anything else on the list today, so feel free to unmute and ask a question or type something. No
I was kind of
questions.
expecting my CAD reference base file, that I originally made to create sheets with. It wound up that wasn't the reference that I actually edited. It wound up being in those views. You had to go to this model to update things. So it kind of made sense what you just said about
Yes,
updating it. So I thought that was going to work.
the way, yeah, but I did not save my settings. So I thought, well, if I've got the time, if nobody's asking, maybe people just want to see if I can get this to work. I just saved my settings. So that was the little button that says save settings, Control F. And I thought, well, let's try it, one more time. It's pretty fast, Casey. No, and it's still that fence is that dog leg right there, so it's still not displayed correctly. So, definition of insanity, doing the same thing, right? So I will investigate that further when I'm not recording, and that also brings me to another thing I wanted to show you. Anyway, I usually get the question asked in these sessions, when will this recording be posted? Where will it be posted? And I wanted to show you this so that you don't have to constantly wait on me to post these recordings. As soon as we get them uploaded to our playlist, they will be accessible to you. So from the intranet homepage, I'm going to go to topics A through F and choose the engineering application support team. On the left lane, the connect lane, I'm going to choose connect drawing workflows. At the very top of the page is a link to the Connect Workflows video playlist. If you want to see if I've posted, say, last week's webinar, you can scroll to the bottom of the list and there you can see I did get last week's webinar posted along with a PDF of my notes. So that's posted. So I got that posted last week. So I have my notes there. But for this week's, if you want to check, tomorrow, who knows? Check out the playlist. If you go to the playlist, you will see what we've been able to get uploaded. And these are also entered in order. The newest are going to be at the bottom. So you see the latest webinars posted at the bottom in the playlist. And that is all I have for you today. Oh, when can the file name tool be used? When using the create drawing, I'm going to say I don't think it will ever be used, the file naming tool. So I believe that Daryl is asking about the naming tool that's in ProjectWise. And when we are creating new models, we're actually working inside MicroStation. And ProjectWise really isn't involved at all, not for naming the model. And at ODOT, we don't have a process published that would place those drawings into a different file. And no, it's not integrated with the naming tool. No, at this point. So if you were to say, I want to put my drawings in an entirely different file, you should then exit that file and use the naming tool in ProjectWise to correctly name that file. Yeah, but they aren't integrated. So just to show you, I think that the question was about, if I use the Create Drawing tool, there is a checkbox on the left-hand side to actually put the seed model for that new sheet into a different file. Right now it's grayed out. It says it's going into the active file. And that's typically right now where we're placing these new sheet models is in the active file. Because I already created my PL03. That's where my sheets are going to go. All right, I see maybe there's one more. Oh, perfect. Okay. Anybody else? Question, comment?
Lindy, those two videos you pointed me to with prepare a plan sheet file with name boundaries for sheets and cut sheets in plan sheet file. Those videos are impeccable and the directions are so well laid out. It was all I really needed to help me get through finally setting up that project that you and I were trying to work on. But thanks for doing such a good job on those videos.
Oh, thank you for pointing that out. Let me show folks where those are and just explain too. I think I did these videos. Did I? Oh, Rhonda, you would probably remember. Did I have the latest boundary seeds or was I using the old boundary seeds?
There's a couple of updates that probably need to be made, but it was, I don't know, it wasn't that big of a deal.
I think
a couple of things have changed. There's a couple of things, just the seed files that are more available now than were there when you did the videos.
Yeah. I think Rhonda's talking about the sheet layout category. And yeah, I do have videos that will walk you through the process. And there is a PDF for both for the most miscellaneous detail sheet or for maybe using plan sheets. But yeah, awesome. Those are there. All right, let's see. I've got one more question. Going forward, is the goal to have all the sheets in one file or have one sheet in its own file? That's an excellent question from Manuela. Those processes are being worked through right now, and those decisions are being made. I believe that we're going to be continuing to have multiple sheets in one file, but maybe not all of the sheets in one file, if that makes sense. We do have file names for plans, and we have file names for profile. So at this point in time, it's definitely appropriate to put your cut plan sheets into a plan sheet file. And if you were just cutting profile sheets, you could put those into a profile file. If you were going to do alternating ones like we did in our training, you would probably put those in a plan and profile, but they would all go in one. And I'm certain that there's a diminishing rate of returns because you get so many models created that it can become unwieldy to have all of your models in the same file. So I don't believe that they're going to come down with a hard and fast, all sheets have to be in one file. But I think it's going to be, yes, we can have multiple sheets in one file. So we should learn how to do it both ways. Other questions?
I did wind up breaking up into sheet sets because we typically do like 10 sheets to a file, just so like if more than one person had to work on files, we could. But then it went back to that, the CAD reference base file. If I needed to make updates, I had to go right into that sheet set to make the changes in those references there. So that was the only kind of workflow thing that was different than MicroStation. Yeah.
There are pros and cons, aren't there, to separating your data? Another good reason to separate is different disciplines might want to keep theirs in different files. Totally get that too. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all for coming out today, and hopefully we'll see you here next week.
Have a good day, you guys. Bye.
Thank you, Lenny.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.